Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm Anand Chokkavelu, and we've got longtime fools Lou Whiteman and Tyler Crowe giving a 1 to 10 rating to a company that can help you with your deck. And it's not Trex for once, it's UFP Industries, formerly Universal Forest Products. It's ticker symbol UFPI. First, we'll rate the strength of UFP's business, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible, a 1 is hopeless. Lose at a 6.5. Tyler, you're stronger at an 8.
Yeah, this one kind of tugs at my heartstrings. Look, my family was in the New England logging and trucking industry for a long time. So sawmills, building lumber, that's really kind of, family heritage a little bit to me. But UFP specifically, and it's not just like I love this kind of industry, but UFP specifically is built up like a dominant position in sawboard, in the wood product kind of industry within North America, specifically the United States. 7% of all of America's softwood touches their facilities in some way or another. And there's nobody that really even comes close in terms of total size to UFP. Yeah, I get it. It's a cyclical industry, lumber, commodities, anything like that's going to be cyclical. But what I like about UFP specifically is it's invested kind of in a vertically integrated way so that it got into a lot of downstream products that it isn't completely beholden to, commodity prices for timber or anything like that. They have some pricing power, they have some margin and a ways to work the ups and downs of the cycle. And yeah, the housing is in the dumps right now, not just new construction, but also renovations. But, we can't expect that to go on perpetuity for kind of the recent run for the company.
You can't expect it to go on forever, but it is going to go on. And I'll tell you, 6.5 is because I wanted to go higher. Solid business. They are great at what they do. I don't disagree with anything Tyler said, but they are just so vulnerable to the world around them. As you say, housing's in the dumps, renovations in the dumps. We even have tariffs on Canadian lumber right now. You can't help but walk away, or at least I can't, with the thought that they are the best at what they do, but is it good enough for it to be a winning investment? I think at best, this is one where you have to buy at the right part of the cycle, which diminishes the overall appeal and the overall score for me, but a great company.
Two quick follow-ups for Tyler. Tyler, you said 7% of America's softwood timber goes through a UFP facility. So, and you said no one's close, so I assume it's very fragmented industry based on those numbers. And then the second question would be, hey, can you define softwood versus hardwood?
Sure. So yes, extremely fragmented, a lot of single sawmill facilities, upgrade facilities, things like that. And as a result, UFP has actually been a serial acquirer in this space, which is part of their big value proposition. Isn't just like their existing business, but they're kind of one of those roll-up specialists. Again, another type of business I really like. And then softwood versus hardwood. Softwood is basically your pines, evergreens, anything like that. Hardwood is your maples, your oaks, maple oak, things that you're going to more likely use for finish and trim and furniture, versus softwood is what you're going to use for a lot of your structural components.
Beautiful. Let's talk management. A 10 is Warren Buffett. A 1 is Homer Simpson. Once again, you're higher than Lou. You're at an 8 with him at a 6.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to gush about this business. I apologize. But one of the things is UFP, it promotes from within. And the current CEO, William Schwartz, he only took over in 2024. So we could say like not around very long. He started as a lifer at the company almost 30 years ago. And he's basically worked from the factory floor up, management in the factory, sales, operations, things like that. In the absence of a founder-led business, because, not everyone has that opportunity anymore. One that promotes from within and has like employees for life, I think is a good like stand-in for strong leadership and corporate culture that you want to see for decade-long investments. And plus a great compensation package that really aligns management's incentives with investors.
Yeah. So Will Schwartz, as Tyler said, he started out as a sales trainee and now he's CEO. I love that. I really do. I've been there since 98, but he's only been CEO now for months. He replaces Matthew Masson, who has built this business for over 14 years. Still an executive chairman here. So still the experience hasn't left the building. I have nothing bad to say about it, but I don't know how they or anyone else can lift all of those headwinds or so I kind of ding him there. And, he is new on the job, even though he's been there for a while. So a passing grade for me, nothing more, nothing less.
Financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Lose at a 7. Tyler, once again, you're at an 8.
Yeah. Again, how many times can I say nice things about this company? Eight. I said it was like it has a very strong balance sheet. If you look at it, relatively low debt position, good strong cash position, and it uses that position to consolidate this industry. Like I said, lots and lots of opportunities to take a very fragmented industry and make a coherent large player in this business. And they've done it as a serial acquirer. A lot of you look at the cash flow statement and it'll be like $75 million acquisition, $37 million acquisition. It's nothing big, but that roll up strategy has been very effective.
Yeah, you kind of have to not ignore, but most recent quarter results, everything was down. But look, that's macro taking its toll. That's not a reflection on the business. Back it out. Taylor said great balance sheet, 3 times cash to debt, a lot of untapped liquidity is necessary. Solid, if not great dividend with a payout ratio of just like 20% or so. So very sustainable. They started buying back shares even, which I like to see. Financials are a bright spot. No question. This is a well-managed cash generating company. Not really a wow for me, but absolutely no complaints.
Right. Let's see if the valuation's a wow for you, Lou. How well will UFP's stock do over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? 10's a sure thing. 1's a lottery ticket.
So the problem for me is I don't know when these macro headwinds fade, and you're only giving me 5 years. I don't know what tariffs will look like a year from now. Housing should recover eventually, but I don't think it's going to be quick. So I'm at 5 to 10% as a market perform because I can see a situation where, the first, I don't know how many of these 5 years is pretty underwhelming. And that's going to drag down the overall return. For safety, I'm at a 6. I don't know if you'll beat the market with this, but as far as a stable business that with in-demand products that shouldn't disappear, there's not a lot to worry about here.
I was more ambitious. I said 10 to 15 with a safety score at 7. I like the timber business. Like we said, it's been on the decline for the past few years from the slowdown in residential construction, especially renovations and rebuilds. That's kind of a big selling point for them. I think it's actually puts the company specifically in a position to gobble up other struggling mills and composite decking companies and a lot of the other downstream products and build out that vertical integration. And I think it'll benefit from forthcoming interest rate declines, which will really unstick a lot of the things we've been talking about in terms of housing and renovations and stuff like that. And right now it's 17 times earnings on a very depressed earnings number, like down 50% from its 2022 peak. I think that's a pretty good entry point.
And Lou was complaining that we're only giving him 5 years, but as a married person, as all of us are, that's the Wood anniversary, 5 years. We try to stay on point here. Let's go to everyone's favorite topic. Lou, is there a company in UFP Industries space you like better?
So all of my issues, I think, are solved with scale and diversification. So Home Depot is my choice. HD, it isn't really a like for like, but I'd rather ride out all these storms with that diversified large player. Home Depot, I get a better dividend, so that would be my choice.
I can't really say one in particular. I mean, I can name a bunch of other building products companies that I like, but more importantly, and to the point here is I'm shocked Lou didn't go with QXO. And that's all I can say about that.
we keep people from using Mag 7 stocks. Maybe Lou should be banned from QXO. Thank you to both Lou and to Tyler. They've given UFP Industries a decent overall score of 6.9 out of 10. Pretty good scores on the fundamentals. Tyler definitely higher on it than Lou with higher scores across the board. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Johnson Controls. Till then, Fool on.
Look, for this purpose, I think Home Depot is better. I mean, look, QXO is a boy in his dream.